Good morning. My name is Nicolette, and I'm the founder of Cosmic Soul. I'm based in Cape Town, South Africa, and I offer a practice around quantum healing, Akashic record reading, connecting to spirit guides, amongst many other things. And when I was thinking about what to talk about, spirit guides came up for me as a beautiful subject. And I know a lot of my spiritual coaching clients, one of the first things that they want to work with is how to connect to their spirit guides. And it's quite a big subject. You know, yeah, you have to have a certain amount of discernment within all spiritual practices, but specifically when one gets into the aspects of connecting with other beings from other realms, especially the astral or such. So I wanted to really cover that in more detail today. But first off, let's start at the beginning because I have a tendency to jump ahead. Let's start in the foundation level. What is a spirit guide? Spirit guide is a benevolent and loving being that is within your soul contract to guide and assist you in this lifetime. That could include passed over family members or members of your lineage, which would be called ancestors. It could include spirit totem animals, whether they're mythological or real, from unicorns to the lion, to the elephant, the big bear, that they bring their own frequency. And when they arrive, they're really, they're usually very earthy, unless they're specifically not earthy. But many of them have a very strong grounding presence and protective presence. Then there's the angelic realm, or angels, which are celestial beings of light. They may appear, for me, they appear more like light bodies, and I often just see eyes. I have had some interactions with specific archangels, but it is more rare. And when we call upon them, we must be aware of who we're calling. But we'll get back to that. Okay, so the thing, have I covered all the spirit guides? Wait, let me go back. So many of us starseeds will have galactic spirit guides. They're also Earth spirit guides. So they could be, Earth spirit guide could be ideally a Native American Indian, or some Frau from a cottage in the woods in the 16th century or whenever. I mean, it could be a Sumerian, a Babylonian, anything. And the interesting part about these different aspects of guidance is much of the time, they are, from what I have been told, they are aspects of our multidimensional self. So what that means is we are currently, in my belief system, there are parallel lifetimes, parallel dimensions, all happening simultaneously rather than along a timeline. So when people refer to past lives, I'm understanding it as parallel lives, because time doesn't exist when you get to the higher dimensions. But that being said, those aspects that exist then in their highest form are sometimes guiding us now, and vice versa. So we could be our guide's guide in a different existence, if that can make sense for you. Sometimes it's soul contract, and it is like soulmates, if you want to use those words, and there's like a intermingling where certain beings keep working together in different ways. However, I want to add that we are all, in my belief system, we are all each other. I am you, you are me. So even in that broader soul group, we are still each other to a degree, because ego dissolves at a certain point. So when we're working with a spiritual team, we're working with a broad aspect of ourselves. And in the galactic sense, with galactic guides, it's the same story. We could be on various star systems or planets, and from my understanding, origin is not always that necessary unless the story comes through for a particular reason. But for me, it's more about the discernment and knowing the energy signature and what it feels like and the information that is being shared. But we'll get there. I'm jumping ahead again. I have a tendency to. Okay, so we've covered what are spirit guides. So a spirit guide could be, a unicorn, an earth being, and a galactic being. But that being said, those are perhaps the ones that is coming forward to perhaps somebody who's channeling for you or you've experienced through guided meditation. But know that our spiritual team shifts and changes as we grow. So what may feel like you have one guide could actually be 20 to 100 guides. And the more you evolve in this lifetime and work with larger amounts of people or energy, I have noticed the spiritual team tends to expand and grow with you. I've had guides that have stepped back. I wouldn't say they're gone, but they've stepped back because my vibration has shifted and I need other energies to guide me and teach me more. So my team has certainly changed from learning the basics of healing to learning activations in healing. So I often, work with teacher guides and especially galactic guides for me. But I have had a few earth guides, and I always laugh with my other friends who channel that I need to always bring in the earth guides and ask them, step forward now so I can work more with the practical grounding energies that are required. When we do this work, grounding is essential. It is part of being present, embodying it, keeping our wits about us, being able to discern, not getting stuck in the clouds. It's a delicate line when one starts channeling to hold it together and to really be logical and open-minded at the same time. And I feel that discernment is something that is really needing to be present with anyone wanting to go intuitively deeper with their own spiritual development or within their practice. So one of the things I'm going to really bring in today is how to discern what you're connecting with. Because unfortunately, like in life, where we perhaps go to a gathering, you will find all sorts of people. And although there is no maybe essential pure good, pure bad, we are dealing with yin yang. So often there is neutrality or something maybe neutral, but for your helping you to some degree, or perhaps is neutral and not helping or appearing as something else. So these are things to be aware of, not to be scared of. Obviously, fear would lower vibration. And we are 100%, we have dominion in the spiritual world, and we are able to use free will to state what we want and to be able to ask our guides for assistance, ask our guides if they have divine light. We're able to dismiss things that are not what we want around us or other people. Big subject, hey? Big subject. So, okay. When we connect, we would probably do a guided meditation, which I may just add in at the end because I think we'll have time. And in that guided meditation, we ask for a guide of the highest possible divine light come forward for our highest good. Those words, using clear intention, super important. One phrase I wrote down that I wanted to share with you when working or wanting to work with your team. So remember, you're not calling in new guys, you're calling your team to come forward. So the ones that are ready to work with you and that you're ready in that vibration can come forward so you can create a relationship. I call upon my highest, most loving spirit guides who work only in the light and for my greatest and highest good. Good statement. And why would you want to work with a spirit guide? Perhaps you only want to work with God, Source, or Ascended Masters, or Jesus, or Krishna, Buddha. You have the choice. You have the choice what resonates with you. And for me personally, I absolutely feel Jesus, and that connection is so beautiful and so heartfelt, and it's so embracing and almost tearful to work with him. It's so beautiful. But I've also seen Saraswati and Lakshmi and Ganesha. I've worked with a lot of ascended masters, and when one gets to that level where you're interacting and meeting, a booming voice of an archangel, it's you get to know the signatures, and that's almost like I call them business cards, because it's not just saying the words, I'm calling in so and so, because calling in is not a great thing. You don't know what's arriving or what's mimicking. But when they arrive and you've got validation, and I'll go through that more, you're able to work with different frequencies or beings of light, celestial beings. But if you don't want the gray area of spirit guides and it makes you a little bit uncomfortable, there's absolutely nothing wrong with just working with your highest self and with source energy. Because that is always, when I connect to people who specifically work with that, they are tending to be pure white light, a little bit of champagne gold in their aura, very, very often like a cross of light coming, a pillar coming through and then a pillar coming out, all from the heart. And I see that that is a very nice, solid, pure energy. When we're working with guides, to me, it feels almost quite shamanic. And the reason I choose to implement guides in my work and to work with them is the amount of learning I've done from the other side versus what is taught, say, in classes here. So being able to connect to galactic beings for me has taught me a lot about energy centers and how to hold certain areas to connect activations and bring in different frequencies. And beyond, just it's so much, right? But I work with a manted being, mantis, of very high light, and I work with a Pleiadian, and through others, I've also met various other ones like Lyrans, and I don't really care for titles, but very interesting amphibians and fascinating things. Neutral, good, it's very, very interesting. Each person has a resonance, and the beings around them have a resonance. And I always learn more, and I love that. So, from my experience, what I love about the channeling is I'm at a point where my clairvoyance and my clairaudience, I'm able to get facts. Not obviously, galactic beings are more ethereal. We don't always have solid facts per se, other than other channelings. But especially with earth guides, when, for instance, a Chinese master comes through and he gives me his name and the year period and what's happened, or something along those lines, I'm able to research it, whether it be a past life or a guide. And I do think they intermingle often. And I've learned so much about the most peculiar parts of history. I even had an experience with a piano teacher in France, and he said his name was Frederic, and it was the most beautiful unfolding. It turned out to be Chopin. I didn't even know that Chopin was teaching piano in that period. So to students, it was very enlightening. I also met Ben Black Elk's son, and he had a lot of messages, and it was very amazing for me. I didn't even know who Black Elk was. So beautiful, beautiful unfolding as we get to know how to channel. And all that came from me learning to connect with my guide. And one of the first things I did in my late 20s to really meet my guide, I asked for physical touching thing where I could physically embody or feel that energy, not just visualizations. And I was sitting in a small group, and I remember trying to concentrate and having this very painful touch on my cheek, but it was like drilling. And I thought I was being distracted. And everybody else was saying out loud, "Oh, I feel a hand on my shoulder. I feel like I'm being hugged. There's wings around me." And I was waiting, thinking, "Oh dear, what a fail. It's not working out." And it landed up that it was a spaceman, galactic blue being, who was doing this, not able to tell the pain threshold for humans versus spiritual, and not natural thing to push touch in. But the person facilitating was very clairvoyant as well. And I'd been spending years, every time I meditated or went to a meditation, I'd just land up leaving the meditation, going through a wormhole and traveling with this beautiful, bold spaceman thing. And, back in the day, nobody spoke really about ETs or galactics. So it was quite new. I just thought he was this hologrammy blue man, which was bald. And I grew to understand that he was my guide, and that's how I started as a healer and learning. So it's very interesting when we ask for tangible proof and to validate things, it comes. So you can't fake that experience. You can't fake someone else seeing it. Even in classes where he'd give me this beautiful ray of color, people would run who are clairvoyant as well and say, "Wow, that's an amazing how are you doing it? I'm like, well, I'm looking at my guide and his eyes are blue and that's what's coming out my hands. And, as I expanded on it through the little 20 years, I now, actively just work with him and talk with him and use heart space telepathy. But back when I was learning, it was just as simple as, just staring in the eyes and that ray coming through me. So, beautiful when it starts flowing. It can be a beautiful, beautiful spiritual growth. And you can really do a lot of healing. It's almost like, they are tuned in on you specifically and there to help with wisdom or with showing or teaching. So it can be, like having an extra friend. It's not like having someone with all the answers, because no being has all the answers per se, but it is somebody who can assist. Okay, so discerning. I need to get there, I guess. Okay, so when you are connecting and you've used that intention, the first thing to look around with is the energy peaceful and loving? Do you feel calm? You may feel excited or anxious, but is there a calm energy? Do you feel like your heart's expanding? That's an important one. Next point, a being of the light will never tell you what to do. Free will. So if your guide says, don't do this, it might be a warning, but it would be worded perhaps quite differently. My experience with guides is they don't get full of attitude. I have heard some people's earth guides do. My experience has been my guide will sometimes, if there's something dangerous, just stand in front of my face and kind of bring attention that, oh, wait, I can't see what's going on. Oh, something's going on. Let me think it out. Okay, now let me ask my guide to assist me with moving this energy or whatever. So I don't feel forced by anything. I sometimes feel alerted. So make sure you always have free will. That is a sign. If you don't have free will, the being might be more neutral or lower energies. Okay, so ask for, when you receive messages, they must be about your spiritual growth and, coming from the heart. You can just, pick up how the messages come across and ask for proof. So, yeah, if you ask, are you a being of light? And there's any type of evasion or avoidance or half an answer from your side, if there's any doubt or confusion, rather end it. A being of the light will simply say, yes, I am, and just shine even brighter. So there's fantastic ways. So if you're at a point where you do need to say anything regarding something being more neutral or of lower energy, you can say, if you're not of the light, I command you to leave my space immediately in the name of divine light and love. You can say Christ light, you can say God, however you want to word it. I mean, words are merely intentions. So, I'm just giving you a basic idea of how to deal with that. And in the emotion that comes with those statements is confidence, calmness, and love. So, it's not about going into battle or fear, because there's no need to. Everything in life is on some level an aspect of us, but it's also about discerning what resonance we want to work with in our lives. So, do you want to sit with that friend who visits and just moans for 2 hours and leaves? Would you rather avoid that and sit with somebody you pop in and giggle and laugh with and feel filled up, your cup's filled up? So, it's about choosing the energies that you want to move forward with. And when you get a good relationship with one or two guides and you feel good about it, you will find that when you choose to connect and maybe listen with a journal, ask questions, or if you're very visual, go on little journeys in your mind where you allowing yourself to go to like maybe a sacred sanctuary or temple or island and go on a journey, ask for messages. That could be a really beautiful space to connect to on your own terms when you feel like it. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in this field and you're a healer, then that might be like me when you're in the healing space, that you immediately call in your team or acknowledge your team rather, and then you work with them for me, to have my back, to have extra set of eyes and ears and advice. And I can choose to work with them or not work with them. It's absolutely my choice. And that's the way it should be. Okay, so now I want to cover what is a thought form, because that's a big one. Excuse me while I have a sip of coffee. So thought forms is a broad one. Oh, wait. Let me go back. Rewind. Okay. While you are working with discernment, you can also work with crystals, because crystals hold a frequency, right? and they can really bring it into your body if you breathe with them and work with them. So crystals that are really good for protection or shielding and all that to enhance the energy. Amethyst. Yes, that's the purple one. This one's actually a Brandberg from Namibia, so not the best example of bright purple, but this is amethyst. And smoky quartz. It's the light brown. Sometimes they get quite dark, but they're usually treated. So smoky quartz has a beautiful, beautiful effect. I think it was actually found in Scotland, I think. Beautiful. Then black tourmaline, fantastic. Most people know black tourmaline well. And I often work with shungite, from Russia. So that one creates a little bit of space between you and the rest of the world. It's fantastic. So those are also great to maybe work with while you meditate and do this sort of work. I would also suggest higher vibrational crystals like apophyllite. And you're probably thinking, what's that? And I'm sitting here. Let me pause. I'm back. It's like I wasn't gone, right? I was like a timeline shift. Oh, you're joking. Okay, so this is apophyllite, and you'll see that it's sort of rhomboidal, which means it's not in sharp points like a quartz, and it's got a very gentle, angelic type of energy, and it comes in these sort of clusters, so it really raises the vibration, a very fine vibration. So nice to work with channeling. And then, of course, I would definitely say use selenite. Selenite is that beautiful, that sort of, everyone knows selenite, I think. And it works so well with black tourmaline. Just saying, these two are twins in a way. They're just perfect yin-yang. They work well. And selenite just by itself is even highly protective. So good one to use. Okay, so did I jump around too much? Okay, thought forms. That's where we were. So thought forms are made from repetitive thoughts and emotions. So, for instance, if I had, I'll do two examples. One is around somebody else. I was very jealous of somebody, and every day I woke up thinking maybe some mean thoughts about their nose, and that meanness would sort of fester energetically in my auric field and eventually become a dense cloud, which may even take some sort of form. And if I keep doing it, say for like 20 years or maybe less, who knows how intense my feeling is. Maybe it's just a few weeks, a few days. Everything is different, right? Everything's unique. Anyhow, that thought form then gets broken away from my auric field and has enough energy in it with all my nasty little thoughts. It could already be affecting the person, and the person might be thinking, oh, I don't feel so good. It's almost like an energetic curse in a way. And then maybe at some point the thought form is going to actually just leave us both and have a life of its own floating around and maybe attach to somebody else who's having a jealous thought about somebody else and go, ooh, that looks like a resonance I remember. Let me go feed on that. When that thought form arrives in somebody else's energy, they're suddenly going to have this enhanced feeling of grumpiness and, it's going to like fester more and then eventually break off. So these thought forms can even gather together, like two can come near each other and become bigger. And essentially, they become personified and they might appear like what we understand as negative attachments, entities, demonic stuff. It could look like that. So those thought forms are in the astral realm, or as in, I heard a new name for it from Jeff, who's also on this group, such a wise man. And he said greylands, and that actually opened up my vocabulary somewhat. And it's basically the same idea, from what I understand. It's a place between life and death, and it's fairly neutral. And I think it's how I see the astral realm, where there's all sorts of unusual things, ghosts, poltergeists, fairies, all sorts of things. And maybe that's how the shamans would journey into the underworld. Maybe that's similar too. So when we are dealing with, I don't want to say newbies or amateurs, but when we start off, we sometimes don't tune into the higher vibrations because we still don't know how. And we're probably coming from a space of excitement and nerves, and that can lower our vibration when we start off with meditations. So we might be transversing that realm, and then those beings can take all forms they like and appear up like an angel in robes, for instance. So you need to challenge what comes through. So some of the best steps to work with that would be setting up a very sacred space. So I would suggest clearing the room you're in with the idea of visualizing violet flame or burning Palo Santo or sage, if that feels right for you, or just praying in the room, lighting a candle, things that resonate with you will be right for you. So you want to visualize the room in this white or golden bubble, or just you, perhaps with 2 meters around you. You want to ask for protection from divine source energy. You can still refer to your spirit team, even if you don't know who they are, because they are essentially with you. And then ask that one of the highest light for your highest good comes forward. Maybe place the crystals around and just use that discernment and check in with yourself. How are your emotions? Are you feeling calm? Is your heart calm? You want to be in a calm state. And for me, that comes with breath work. So I know in my previous video, I did speak about ocean breath because that is very powerful to me, where you breathe in through the nose and then you breathe out audibly through the mouth. So it calms the whole nervous system. It absolutely regulates it. Any breath work where it's not hyping you up but calming you down, which is basically, the out breath, a stronger lower out breath will be calming. It's like sighing out stuff. If you do equal in and out breath, you're probably going to raise energy, which can work. But if you start getting a little excitable, maybe not great for a meditation. You can judge for yourself. Each person, again, is unique. And I'd say put yourself in a calm space. When you start realizing you're overexcited or you're nervous or fearful, come out of that space and go back to breathing and going back into the heart and feeling that heart expansion. Because it should be, like as natural as falling in love, where everything is beautiful. You want to work from that space of bliss and love and trust and open-heartedness and still keep that level of discernment. You don't want to go in there nervous and everywhere and bringing all your baggage in. You first want to be relaxing your body, releasing the tension, allowing that all to just dissipate, grounding yourself. Excellent to ground yourself before you do any type of meditation. For me, grounding works through my feet chakras, beautiful swirling energy centers, and I open those and I plug them into the 5D crystalline grid, which kind of piggybacks the ley lines. But you can do sort of normal grounding as well, where you roots out of your feet deep into the earth, into the soil, into that magnetic inner earth, where you actually feel anchored. And then you open your crown and you feel that opening and that beautiful togetherness, that unity. And I think, for me, the crystalline grid also creates that unity with all sentient beings. So it's become that channel of unity, centering into the heart. And then when you're in that state, you can find this beautiful sacred space within yourself. For me, it's an island with lakes and waterfalls and the beach and lots of unicorns, always unicorns. And there I have my discussions, and it's my sanctuary, and it's a beautiful place to reset and to have my own healing. And from that space, you can ask to meet the guide of the highest light. You can have your conversation, you can receive your message, you can give gratitude. And the more you become accustomed to connecting in this way, the more you'll be able to connect more regularly. And I suggest doing some psychic development work, so you enhance your natural psychic abilities, like work on your clairvoyance, work on clairaudience, work on all those things. And if you find there's still a little bit much, you could even work with a channeler or somebody that you believe has integrity and clarity, and do one-on-one sessions. So, often I will deal, or I offer one-on-one Akashic readings, which is about, for me, it's about past lives, guides, or, energy information about the auric field. And that can help people to get a handle on who is safe to connect to, how to connect. And then from then, often it goes into spiritual coaching, because I can assist, and not just me, obviously there's many of us out there doing this beautiful work. And, and it's not special people who have this gift. It's something that we can all build in. It's no, I always say it's like running a marathon. Some of us are more fit than others and we're just natural bodies for running, but all of us could do it if we try. So, you might find somebody is born with these intense psychic gifts, but all of us have the ability to connect into them. I would say that, I only really developed my clairaudience in the past 10 years. And I'm 43 now. whereas before, sensing energy with clear sentience and empathy and clairvoyance, seeing, was my strong points. So definitely my strong points. They still are my strong points, but the audience has been so helpful to receive sentences, messages, and there's definitely something I developed fully. I didn't see auras until I developed how to see auras. I was seeing things with my mind's eye clearly, but not physically. But that is something you can learn. So yeah, spiritual growth is a very fascinating field, and yeah, I think working with spirit guides can be incredible because I really like the fact that there are ascended masters on that side. There are ascended galactic beings who can teach the most amazing things. And, you know, I think it's fascinating that we're not limited and we're able to connect on that level. So, yeah, I'm going to, I think, round off this video now because of the time and won't get to do a meditation, but I have in many ways spoken you through what a meditation is. And just make your sacred space and set that clear intention about, I'll read it again because I think it's very special. I call upon my highest, most loving spirit guides who work only in the light for my greatest and highest good. Okay. And if you ever feel concern or you're not sure about anything in the spiritual realm, if you're not of the light, I command you to leave my space immediately in the name of divine light, in the name of divine love, in the name of God, along those lines. So that is your toolbox. If you are curious and ready and yeah, you want to take the next step, if you haven't yet, then that is the path. All right, so thank you so much for spending this time with me and sharing your energy with me by partaking and listening. And I would really appreciate any feedback or comments. It would be amazing to hear your experiences with your spirit guides, who they are, what they look like, if you're going to try and connect, what the experience was like. And if you want to message me directly to set up any appointments or perhaps follow my page on Instagram or Facebook, I am Cosmic Soul Nicolette, and my website is cosmicsoul.co.za. And yeah, you are so welcome to interact and message. And thanks so much. Have a beautiful day.